Concerning ANBERLIN, it really warms my heart to see that amongst a number of you, we have a shared interest and an obvious curiosity at just the idea of humoring more ANBERLIN work together. Follows suit well post-Convinced, and many of you might recall we took that course together on this channel, in fact, all 5 tracks in that lineup, and it was quite the pleasure route. Loved the experience. Each piece was just wonderful to entertain. Convinced is the surprise follow-up. It's a bit of a shocker, too, because I think not just, back to Silverline and how that one approached, and we all thought ANBERLIN was on hiatus, and then suddenly, wait, they're back? And then Convinced comes out, and I just wrapped up coverage of Silverline probably a couple months ago, and here we are again. I promised you, though, doors open, so we'll satisfy that today. And I would imagine for anybody who's, and I don't like to speak for anyone, but if you're an ANBERLIN fan, I would imagine you had a similar level of elation at the idea of entertaining, or just entering Silverline, and that type of fascination and exhilaration is mimicked here. I think back, as I've said before, to what founded a love for me in the first place of music as such a revered art form in my life, and what brought me into the rock scene even more specifically, and I have to credit, alongside maybe other groups as well, ANBERLIN. They didn't take that long, being, as I've said before, I was raised on Christian music, so Christian rock didn't take that much of an effort to make its way in, and ANBERLIN, I've been a fan of theirs since I was probably around 6 or 7. The idea of humoring them again, especially featuring them on the channel, as I've said many times, it's been a long-standing ambition to bring music on in a grander presence alongside other artistic languages here, and I'm making good on that over the past couple years. ANBERLIN, I felt quite honored to bring them on, and I'm excited by the prospect of featuring them yet again. With the remaining 4 pieces post-Lacerate, which is such a banger of a single, very well-rounded work, love the introduction. So this EP is starting off quite nice with DECODER. I like the prospect of this piece. I haven't necessarily read it in depth. I think I skimmed the lyrics, but I'm sure it'll be a fun vision of what's common of ANBERLIN. Although these last 2 EPs, I'm really enjoying the fresh feel of them, though it definitely has that mainstream ANBERLIN quality. You experience that on their works. There's a unique vision that is manifesting quite well, and I think they're achieving this new layer and aesthetic to their work quite nicely. And I do like originality of pieces. Every band adapts and tries and experiments around with new things, and I think ANBERLIN, it's working to their benefit. That last piece, Lacerate, had a real retro vibe, as some other tracks on Silverline did too. I like seeing that evolution. Let's see if DECODER continues that on. I'm going to go ahead and cue up the work, of course, as usual. We can be introduced to it together for the first time, and if you've never experienced ANBERLIN, I know many of you have, but if you haven't, set a baseline for you on approach. Big name in the Christian rock scene. They've been around for a long time, as I said, since I was 6. I'm 25 now, and I've been a fan for 6 or 7 whenever I approach them for that long. They've got a very potent name, high caliber talent in terms of artistry, real fun rock vibe. They play around a bit in terms of maybe different types of sounds and feels. Some songs are a bit softer than others, but fun lyrical vision, great themes of exploration. I think you're going to really like their work if you've never been introduced, and let this perhaps be your first step. And I would recommend going into their back catalog for sure, but maybe this will be your first entrance. I hope you have a fun time. Of course, go back and listen to Lacerate, and then maybe come back to this one with DECODER, because this is the second track on the collection. For those of you, though, who are experienced ANBERLIN fans, I'm sure you know what you're going to be getting, but we're going to humor that together and enjoy the experience mutually. Music, as I've said for a little bit, it mimics maybe certain artistic styles, but not others, in that there's a fun corporate feature that we can experience on behalf of just sitting down entertaining good art together, and I hope to highlight that and inspire you on your musical journey as you perhaps look for new tracks and new artists to experience. Again, from the perspective that you might be approaching them on a fresh angle, but if not, you know what you're getting. But we're enjoying, maybe from different dynamics, we're enjoying good art together and good music, certainly. I'm sure DECODER will qualify. Let's go ahead and take the experience together with DECODER for the first time. More quickly than I thought with ANBERLIN, admittedly, but I'm excited for it. Okay. Returning that rough rock route. Again, there's been a bit of a mixture on the past 2 EPs, so I like that. Nice swing. I like the intensity here. Going back again to that original ANBERLIN route. Nice hold on those lines. I wonder if there's a similar theme that's manifesting post-Lacerate, if all the tracks are connected, or if there's an individual trait to each one in Vision. I could see potential for that. Nice subtlety on behalf of different types of instrumental blends here. It's a good hodgepodge, but that standard rock root, I'm loving it. Really nice interludes and feeds right into the chorus. Again, I like how swift it is. I'm already over halfway through the number. This one's fast. We got 40 seconds left. Okay, playing with some electronic influences too. That's a bit different. Nice how it goes. That end's a bit humorous. I kind of like it though. Again, as I said, ANBERLIN's newer work is particularly individual, especially on length. That is a short work at only 2 minutes and 34 seconds. That's not what I expected. I remember I did wonder that when I did pull up the lyrics in anticipation that I thought this was kind of short, but I didn't think the song would mimic that. I thought it'd be a bit more drawn out, maybe have a guitar solo that would kind of separate at least different sections and lengthen it a bit, but it's not stretched. It's really constrained. It's a swift number, though. Beautifully paced. Even, nice rock entrance. Standard riff structure, but good. I really like that drive. Again, there's a fun throwback quality with their new works. Even though, again, there's a real fresh chic that that both EPs are manifesting. And as I've said before, as well, I'm still making my way through the ANBERLIN back catalog. I'm very familiarized to their greatest hits, so maybe some of her songs kind of weave them in from what I've heard in selection. Most of the stuff it's gotten, maybe music video presence, but I admittedly have to check out a couple of their projects and songs from years past to complete my ANBERLIN familiarity. But what I'm familiar to in the more mainstream ANBERLIN songs and the more well-recognized ones, Silverline and Convinced are offering something that just feels new and different. A real contrast, but I like the separation. This definitely feels like we're going back into those standard, not the word I want to use. We're rerooting back to the roots that set ANBERLIN up in terms of familiarity on what I know from earliest foundation of Ready Fuels. Kind of tapping back into that, again, a fun, intense mood with still, again, like I said, that dated quality that makes it such a pleasurable reference to years past, even just in rock music. It has that fun feel to it. Good pacing, great structure on the transitions. I love the fact that the chorus, it's just such a swift arrival, just on one line. It's not a drawn-out measure like maybe the introduction is, but then they feed into that quite quickly. There's not a pause to this song. It just keeps on processing through. It's good. I like the flow of it. Lyrically, I did try and find if there's any sort of background. I do try when I cover music to get into the mindset of the artist based on their declared vision for what the songs, maybe the album's philosophy is about. I don't have any statements to operate from on behalf of ANBERLIN from what's been at least presently declared. So I'm going on inference, past experience, and lyrical overview. My sense is that Convinced, much like past ANBERLIN works, is going to be themed around relationships. Whatever dynamic that might be, usually around relationship challenges and troubles. Lacerate was that. That was all about toxic relationships. And that can be expanded, generally beyond just the romantic lens, where ANBERLIN does play around a bit in terms of some different songs of years past, like A Day Late, Feel Good Drag, Ready Fuels even. They kind of all fit in that type of space. Even though, again, maybe there's some songs you could generalize to others. I'm just thinking maybe the ones that are more explicit, at least in relationship, in a romantic sense, theming. Decoder has a similar path from Lacerate, I think. It's different. It's not necessarily... You could say there's maybe toxic dynamics to this relationship being explored, but I see this more as an overview of a relationship where... I say this as a single guy. I can be familiar. I mean, I haven't experienced it myself, but, I've seen enough romantic movies to know how relationships work. And I have enough people in my life that have been in relationships far earlier than maybe I should be. Anywho, it's kind of, at least reading this song, in a quick summation, it feels to me like when you hear about people changing over time, like the person you marry years down the line becomes somebody totally different. Or there's whether it be that dynamic, I could see that being an influence here, or just troubled and obstructed communication between relationship parties, right? You've got one person who's not seeing the understanding or communication of the other person, so there's a disjoint. Although, again, it's much more negative, at least on the core sections, but like, I've changed since the very first moment that you found me, critical mask, under attack, I know me, anyway. Well, it's, again, like I said, still got that toxic root. I wonder if that is the core philosophy of Convinced. That'll be interesting to see. We've got 3 more tracks to judge that accurately, or at least what we can do here. But this really seems like a relationship that's kind of, it's done for. Just too many obstructions that perhaps have destroyed or made it frail and wilt over time. To you, I've never really seemed to walk the line. Can I just say it's over-complicated decoder? I mean, I love the way ANBERLIN writes their lyrics. That also feels particularly fresh with them. There's a sophistication that I admire greatly. And I like that exploration of music. So, I could be on base, maybe I'm not. I'd welcome feedback down below from anybody if you're familiar to the original ambition of the band, if that has been offered. I'd love to hear some comments on that down below. I tried to get a quick look to see if there's anything on behalf of Convinced. I think I'm a little early. I did cover Silverline late, so maybe because of how drawn out it was post to when I got to it. It helped to have so much time that statements were offered, but I don't believe there's been anything on behalf of Decoder or the subsequent works we're going to be looking at in the future. I'm just going off of what I can see. It'll be interesting to see if Convinced, with 3 more works, evolves that relationship theme, specifically from a negative sense. And if it is more so like a core toxic relationship exploration, or just relationships gone awry, relationships in a negative sense, right? When relationships go wrong. That could be the core identity. We'll see. But I'm liking this first introduction. 2 rough tracks as well. I mean, Silverline, a bit of a mixture. It was definitely softer in approach, though, at least from the majority of the work. So I'm curious to see how Convinced evolves. Next with Banshee. I like that name. But it's just fun to humor ANBERLIN again together. As I've said many times, there are certain groups that I think of that I've wanted since I've been inspired to bring music on, that I've been waiting to feature. ANBERLIN, one such talent. Again, one of the foundations that brought me into the rock scene, and, generally from where I'm at now. All the way back so many years ago, and much quicker than I thought we're making a return. But I've loved every step of the way with them, and being able to enjoy in the experience of you. And I'm sure for Convinced, at least is what we're about to experience together in full, it will be no different. The first 2 tracks, I think, have been a wonderful introduction. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.